Time to wake up. It's Saturday morning. Find some milk and cereal. Grab a bowl and spoon. No, a bigger spoon. Head to the living room and take a seat on the floor while Joseph and Chris present to you Saturday Morning Cartoon!
Hello everybody, welcome to Cartoon Boom! This is a show where we wake up with the Saturday morning sun, pops up on the floor with the big bowl of sugary cereal, and we'll try your favorite cartoons, both old and new. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris, bringing up the rear on this train. Woot woot!
Already?
I'm on the caboose.
And this morning, we watched Infinity Train.
Woo!
You were like losing your voice on that last loop.
I'm still recovering from yesterday. I know, I'm going through second puberty.
Train's whistle's cracking.
Yeah.
So who is this suggested by?
This was suggested by EpicOtter through YouTube, and then also Jack Faux via Discord, who we didn't mention last time because he didn't recommend it till after we already announced that we were doing it. And then he was just like, hey, did anyone suggest an episode? And I was like, no. And he's like, do this one. So thanks.
Yeah, thank you both. Oh, man. Oh, man.
Oof.
Oh, man.
Oof.
So the show Infinity Train aired from 2019 to 2021. Unfortunately, it's over at this point. Created by Owen Dennis, story by Owen Dennis, Alex Horeb, Lindsay Katai, Justin Michael, Madeline Querpel, and Cole Sanchez for episodes 1 through 5 and 7 through 10.
Okay.
Produced by Cartoon Network Studios. Ran for 4 seasons, 40 episodes, originally on Cartoon Network for books 1 and 2, which are chapter 1 and 2, basically, or season 1 and 2, and then HBO Max, which was books 3 and 4.
Okay. It's interesting. They call them books kind of like Avatar The Last Airbender did.
Right.
Instead
Yeah.
of seasons. It's kind of fun when they do that.
It makes so much sense with this since it's very anthological.
Yeah, like it's very an open and shut case.
You know, I don't know if there's like transitions between the chapters. We haven't watched enough into it.
I don't know either.
Whether like a new chapter starts up from the last chapter or what. So as far as I know, all the chapters are individually and not connected, aside from them all being on this train.
I think maybe seasons 1 and 2 might be connected, and I will mention why in a little bit.
Okay. So for a short synopsis, various people find themselves on a mysterious train with an endless number of cars, each one being its own universe, and they must find a way to get home in this animated anthology series.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
If I were reading the back of a book, I'd be intrigued.
Yeah, I'd be like, "Oh, that's really interesting." It's a very it's definitely not a story I've ever heard before.
Yeah. So who are some of the actors who played in this story you've never heard before?
Yeah. So Tulip Olsen, and also a character from season 2 called MT, aka Mirror Tulip.
Oh.
See, this is why I think maybe there could be some.
Okay.
It was voiced by Ashley Johnson. And I'm not going to go into everybody's backstories here because there's a whole bunch of cast members here I'm going to mention because of all the different seasons being new characters. But we did mention a little bit about Ashley Johnson on our last episode, being from Critical Role, which I believe is wrapping up their second campaign of their Dungeons and Dragons podcast, which is amazing. If you've never listened to Critical Role, listen to Critical Role, one of the big inspirations for Party in Peril, one of our podcasts. So there you go, Ashley Johnson. The character of One is voiced by two different actors at the same time because he has two personalities. There is Sad One and there is Glad One. Sad One is voiced by Owen Dennis, while Glad One is voiced by Jeremy Crutchley.
Okay, hold on a sec. Is his name One or is it One?
I think it's just One.
I saw it like two different ways, or at least in the subtitles, it was saying it like 1-1. And when he introduces himself, he says one, and his other voice says 1-2. So I don't know if it's like supposed to be 1-1 or if it's just one.
I think it's just One.
All right, that settles it.
I just referred to him as Bipolar Ball for most of the...
Or you could just call him Marvin the Paranoid Android.
Yeah, there you go. The character of Atticus, the Corgi, voiced by Ernie Hudson. Did you catch that?
No, I didn't know that. That's awesome, though.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering. I wasn't sure, and then I saw the name and I was like, aha, I knew it. The Cat, voiced by Kate Mulgrew. Jesse, voiced by Robbie Damon. Agent Mace, voiced by Ben Mendelsohn. Grace, voiced by Kirby Howell-Baptiste. Simon, voiced by Kyle McCarley. Hazel, voiced by Isabella Abiera. Amelia, voiced by Lena Headey of Game of Thrones fame, or Sarah Connor Chronicles fame, or Judge Dredd 3D fame. She's awesome, man. She's in everything cool. I wish I was her. Min Gi, voiced by Johnny Young. Ryan, voiced by Sakai Murashige. And Kez, voiced by Minty Lewis. Now, what's interesting is we didn't even see half of these characters, but these are still like main characters in a lot of the seasons. So it's weird for us.
Yeah, that's why I feel like we watched this wrong. And I say that because
we did.
The first 2 episodes we watched makes sense. It's part of the both part of the first chapter. But I feel like our last episode should have been early, maybe the first episode of one of the other chapters. Definitely not the last episode, because we've essentially spoiled it for ourselves what's going to happen at the end of chapter 3 without even knowing what happened at the beginning of it.
Yep. That's the thing.
So I think I remember Jack Fox saying something about that too in Discord. Like, he's wondering how we're going to tackle that. And I feel like we did it wrong. So I think we should have approached it better.
Well, now we know. And knowing's half the battle.
G.I. Joe, I know.
Okay, I was waiting for it. I knew I'd get a sad one too. G.I. Joe.
Oh. Coming off of that sad note, here's a few tasty marshmallows out of our big bowl of Infinity Train cereal. This is actually, the creator, Owen Dennis, is actually a previous writer and storyboard artist on Regular Show. That's pretty cool. We haven't covered Regular Show on this show first, but I do enjoy it, so we will one day.
Yeah, I've never really seen it, but a lot of friends of mine really, really enjoy that show, and I don't know what the hype is about just yet. So I'm ready to find out about the hype.
So Regular Show is sort of awkward humor, but not as much so as like Flapjack is. So I think since we enjoyed that against all of our assumptions, I think you'll really enjoy this one.
Okay.
Owen Dennis has also described Infinity Train as Saw for kids, in that each season is essentially a morality play based around machinery designed to help one overcome personal issues and appreciate life.
Wow.
And you know what? He's not wrong, at least not from what we've seen so far.
He's not wrong. I feel like calling it Saw for kids is pretty strong. Jeez. Yeah. Okay. But it
definitely has some like horror elements to it. Like those robots are really frightening.
Yeah, that is true. There's some real eerie stuff going on. There's some real eerie atmosphere to it too, aside from like this straight up creepy stuff. And there is a scene that is some straight up like horror at one point. Like someone dies gruesomely, and I was like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
Me either. So I guess he's not that far off.
And lastly, I think this is one you covered in the voice acting part already, but One's negative persona, Sad One, is voiced by the series creator Owen Dennis.
Yeah, poor Sad One. When's the last time you went on a train?
Honestly, I don't know if I've ever been on a train.
Oh, okay. It's been several years for me, but I used to ride on trains a lot. How about you, listeners? When's the last time you've been on a train or traveled for a length of time? Probably hasn't been any time lately because of COVID, but things are starting to look up. So I'm sure you'll be wanting to start planning those longer trips, which means you need new podcasts to listen to. So if you're enjoying Cartoon Boom and this episode, then go listen to me and Joseph's other podcasts, like Night Marathon, where we talk about scary movies, or the third podcast with Joseph and myself called Party in Peril, where we play a campaign of Dungeons and Dragons, which is hilariously fun. Also available through nerdsloth.com is A Little Spooky, a podcast about scary stories, events, and cryptids. So search them all and subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you've got them ready this summer as you finally get ready for that vacation that's been a long time coming.
So, had you ever heard of this show before? I mean, I guess before it got suggested to us?
I don't think so. The only reason I know anything about it is just because our Discord people constantly talk about it. But I don't think they really started in on it until Epic suggested it. And so as soon as they started in on it, they never stopped. And I'm sure they even talked about it like today, because that's like their conversation every day is just like, we're going to talk about Infinity Train or Sonic the Hedgehog or Kingdom Hearts. So there we go.
Right. Even yesterday on the Twitch stream, they were talking about us talking about Infinity Train to see what we thought about it before the episode even got recorded. And it's like, no,
exactly.
You got to wait. We haven't watched it all yet. Wait, just hang on. That's my introduction to it too. I didn't know anything about this, unfortunately, because I, at least from what I've seen so far, am really enjoying it. So it's sad that I didn't know about it, but I'm glad I do now.
Yeah, I kind of can't believe that I didn't know more about this before they started talking about it in our Discord group. So I don't know how it flew so under the radar for me.
I know, it's like we're just not like on the pulse that we need to be, like on the cartoon pulse somehow.
We goofed up. We goofed it.
We're correcting that. It's fine.
Yeah.
So let's go and jump into the episodes we watched for today's show, which starts with the very first one, which was The Grid Car, Season 1, Episode 1, where Tulip, a headstrong 13-year-old girl, finds a mysterious train where every car contains its own universe.
Man, she is headstrong. Goodness. Like, this girl is, but I mean that in a good way. Like, I love her character. She's great. And she's, I don't know. I like how much she stands up for herself, even when she goes like overboard. But I feel like it's very tropey to get the pushover teenagers as the main characters, and the ones around them are the real stand-up ones, you know, the real pushy ones. And
the side characters usually.
Yeah, but this one is definitely her. Like, she does not back down from anything, and that's kind of refreshing to see right away.
But it's also one of her failings, we come to find.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
In a way. But yeah, she's very unique. She's a game designer at the age of 13. Or wants to be. Yeah, she is making her own stuff, or trying to. She loves onions, which is an interesting quirk she has. Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. I like an onion ring. I'll even dance with the devil and try a bloomin' onion from like an Outback Steakhouse. Okay, I'll do that disgustingness. But she eats raw onions like apples, and that's just gross.
I don't know if that comes into play much more, or if that's just a character trait of hers. But onion breath is something that her best friend calls her, so that's fun.
Yeah, that's nasty.
Her parents, like I guess the core of this chapter is her parents are recently divorced, and she's going to end up having to deal with that in different ways.
Yeah.
Or at least to deal with her personal feelings towards that.
Oh, man.
The way it kicks off, though, onto this Infinity Train portion is where she finds out that her dad had scheduled something incorrectly, so he can no longer take her to this game design camp that he was going to. And her mom stays too busy because she works at the hospital, and it like took some double shifts because she thought that her dad was going to take her. So they unfortunately can't take her. And she's like super disappointed in that, locks herself in a room, and then just on a whim gets an idea, because of how headstrong she is, that she's just going to like not run away as much as just go herself, like just walk it. Yeah. Or like find a way there.
Man, that line that she said to her mom, when her mom's saying, well, like, I can't take you, because she's just like, well, why can't you take me? She's like, I can't. And she's explaining that she took the double shifts and everything. She's just like, I wish I could, but I'm just too busy. And she's just like, you're too busy to be my parents. And I was just like, ouch.
Yeah.
Like, dang. Because that really feels like, I don't know, like a genuine thing an upset teenager would say when they're hurting.
Absolutely. All that angst.
Ugh. Like, and I mean, a lot of times I roll my eyes at some of the teenage angst stuff because, you know, I've grown through that stuff. But like, that was just a real, I don't know, it felt pretty realistic for being a cartoon. At least the writing was just so good. It like that hit home, man. I was just like, youch.
Yeah, that felt like writing from personal experience at that point.
Yes, exactly.
After running away to take herself to Oshkosh game design camp, she runs across this train after it's 300 miles away. So she's like, wow, this is really far. And then she runs across this like random train station, or it just kind of pulls up
in
to
the
her.
woods.
In the woods. Yeah. And she's like, okay, well, that's convenient. And like the train literally has like a sign, and it's like Oshkosh. So he's like, wow, that's really good. And so she climbs aboard this train, like cautiously at first, but still excited because she's going to finally get her wish, which is to go to game design camp. And so right when she climbs in, it kind of like a portal opens. It kind of sucks her into it. But she wakes up like out in another field and it's like, wow, did I dream that whole thing?
Yeah, just in the snow. And it wasn't snowing before.
Right.
Because it was like warm outside and stuff, you know, like it was sunshiny and everything before. And now she's just completely entrenched in snow and stuff. And I like too that she kind of mentions a few quips and stuff about Minnesota and Wisconsin. And I'm like, oh, I totally get it.
Yeah,
she's got to be a Minnesota girl.
This is also where we are introduced to one who asks if she's his mom.
Yeah, are you my mom? Yeah. Again, I refer to him as Bipolar Ball. I like how that rolls off the tongue. But yes, his name is One. But yeah, this ball is very. He wants to find his mom. His mom. This ball he's like a sentient little robot guy, and he really is kind of bipolar, not in an angry way, but he goes back and forth between being helpful and kind of happy, and then being like Eeyore, kind of sad and depressed and just really doom and gloom about everything.
Well, it's like Eeyore turned up to 11 because he goes from, are you my mom? And then when she says no, he's like, oh, well, then are you here to offer the sweet release of death? And it's like, oh my God. It's way different.
I loved it.
Yeah.
All of his lines were pretty golden too, because it's just like he sneaks in those really funny, morbid lines constantly. And if you aren't paying attention, you're going to miss it because they're all, a lot of them are really quick.
A lot of the comedy in this is really subtle. Some of it's very direct, but some of it is just really subtle stuff that, again, like you said, you would miss if you blink or if you look away or if you're not listening up.
Exactly. It turns out that the snow thing that she landed in, she ends up seeing a big snowman with a door. She's like, that's weird. Opens the door. Oh, she's still on the train. She just opened a train car. And there's another train car ahead of her. So that's how we start figuring out that each of these train cars are basically like another universe, and they're vast and very large. Well, I guess we say very large. It depends on the car, because some of them aren't that big, because like one of the next ones she gets into isn't actually that big. It's just the size of probably a regular train car. But it has very interesting properties to it.
It has like musical shapes in it, or musical cubes, I guess, that play different tunes as you're kind of touching them or stacking them or whatever.
Well, they don't even exist until she touches like the blank space, and then like the cube basically just materializes from the ground or the wall or wherever, and then makes a tune. Yeah, it's weird. It's like Legos coming out of nowhere almost.
Yeah. And so she's sort of messing around in there, not more out of curiosity than anything, because she still doesn't know where she is. She just knows she's on the train. She's crafting her, since they're these squares, she's using them sort of like pixels and crafting a little like Space Invaders kind of figure she had in her little game she was making. And then she finds out, like, she takes off one of her gloves to throw it up at the ceiling to see if, you know, those are musical too. And then that's when she finds out she has a number on her hand. It's like 115 at this point.
Yeah. And it glows, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I would love to have a glow in the dark tattoo. That'd be cool. I think those exist.
I think they do exist. Yeah.
I should get one. I just gotta, me and Rochelle just won gift cards for free tattoos. We should go get glow in the dark.
I don't know if I would trust a tattoo that relied on a gift card.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it'll be fine.
You do you.
Yeah.
You do you. So they look out the window, or no, they go outside, and she like sees this like void of like nothingness, and then is like, hey, do you know like what Wisconsin looks like? And to asking one that is like, this, and she's like, no, this is definitely not Wisconsin. And then this giant beam comes from the clouds and like goes into a different train cart and then sucks this guy out of it. He disintegrates, and then it just blasts into the ground, and she's just like, oh my God, what is this? What is happening?
Yeah.
So like as she's running off, she sort of runs into a different car, gets stuck in the mud, and then starts getting chased by these roach dogs, I guess you could call them. That's what I would compare them to.
Yeah. I call them roach dogs. Yeah, those are creepy. Man, they got even creepier like in a later episode when I found out like other stuff they can do. I was like, oh my God.
We find out in part in this episode because they start to like absorb her youth. Like we don't know exactly what they're doing
that's
at
true,
first.
yeah.
but she starts to turn like kind of withered and older as it is attacking her. And then like she hits it with a shoe or something. I can't remember what she hits it with, but she's able to get it away from her. She runs off and they go looking for the conductor because, you know, she's assuming someone's like driving this train. I mean, this all happens in 11 minutes. These are 11-minute episodes. So that's why it seemed kind of rushed right there, because it's only 11 minutes and all this happened.
Yeah, but man, there's a lot to unpack there in that 11 minutes. It was for I don't know. It's just there was just so much that happened. And like, I mean, per the big stinger at the end of the episode, when they peek out the next train car, it just looks like that train goes on forever, aka infinity.
Uh-huh.
But what I like too is that when you said it's just basically a void out there, like it looks like this train is just driving through like the Fallout universe or something. Like it's just a wasteland with these big, what looks like the big radiated roaches or something. You know, it's crazy. So I like that. I like the idea that maybe this takes place in the Fallout universe.
And so the next episode we watched for today's show was The Cat's Car, season 1, episode 5. This was one chosen by Jack Faux, where Tulip has to face her past. That's the description of it. I mean, that's accurate, though.
He said he chose this because it will help explain a little bit of what's happening in the highest rated episode, knowing which one it was going to be. So that's why he chose this one. So I'm thankful that he did that, because I think we would have been even more lost if he hadn't.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying now, or I see what he was saying. Like, that makes sense.
Yes.
So the way this starts, though, is hilarious, where they step off of this train that has like a T-Rex baseball team in it, or at least a dinosaur baseball team. And she's just like, thank you. Thank you. We'll never forget you. And then the corgi who we're introduced to in this episode, Atticus, is like, what was that fellow's name again? She's like, I kind of already forgot. What's his face? One call is like, well, I will call him Mildred, the Tyrannosaur. And they just move on from there. So I think it may have had nothing to do with the previous episode, but it was just a great way to start it.
Yeah, I would assume that, it probably was just a random funny open, which makes the joke even better. I just really want to see a dinosaur baseball team in action.
Yeah.
I would love to see a baseball game of just dinosaurs. You know, that would make baseball like way more fun to watch.
Sporty
dinos. It gets so boring, man. It gets so boring.
They go into the next car. Well, okay, this is, I think, where it's first introduced. These train cars can move too on their own. Like one of them like lifts up and carries itself over, almost like if you ever seen the movie Cube. I know we watched it, but you know what I mean, where they're all kind of rearranging themselves. We watched it on Night Marathon.
Go listen to Night Marathon's episode on the Cube.
If you haven't seen Cube, go listen to that episode. Then come back and listen to this one. No, you don't have to.
Yeah,
let's just keep listening to this one. It's fine.
No, go listen to Night Marathon.
But so they're rearranging themselves, and so she steps into the next car that's there that has rearranged itself to her, and that's when there's this cat in it who I guess they know from a previous episode that tried to kidnap them. And it's a talking. Yeah, of course. It's a talking cat also. And this is the cat's room, or the cat's humble abode, as she puts it.
I like it because like this cat has almost like junk, but it all looks like very important, like artifacts and stuff. Like there's suits of armor and maps and jewelry and really like expensive stuff, like famous looking paintings and stuff just all over the place. And I like that about it. Like that, you know, at least the cat's got good taste is what I'm saying.
Well, the cat's also a hoarder, it seems like, but
but in a fun way.
Yeah. A refined hoarder.
Yeah. It's at least like the cat isn't hoarding, you know,
old newspapers,
Mountain Dew bottles and other cats. It's actually cool stuff.
Yeah. Other cats. So they're like obviously not trusting this cat because they have that previous relationship with her and don't trust her. And so, but she's begging them to stay. And while they're trying to leave, she pushes like these tapes off of the shelf she's standing on, or the door frame. One of them has Tulip Olson written on it, which is Tulip's full name. So they're like, oh, well, I guess we have to watch it now. It's a video about your life. And the number on her hand at this point is an 89. So it's gone down from the 115 we saw in the first episode, but we're not yet sure why. And until a little bit later in this episode, I think. So the cat like forces her to watch this. Atticus is trying to tell her just to be cautious and maybe don't just like trust this cat immediately. The cat sits her down, puts the tape in, and just starts playing. And she kind of gets like, she zones out and then goes into like her own memories, but she's very staticky, like we were talking about earlier when she first enters.
Yeah, it's really interesting because it shows her a version of her memories. And to us, at first, we just assume that these memories are just what they are, is that they're just memories.
Right, we're taking them for face value.
Yeah, we're taking them at face value. After a while, the memories become like all kinds of like weird and creepy. And so it shows to us as the audience that, okay, these are obviously not not correct anymore. And Tulip's saying, oh, like no, there's something wrong with them. Especially at that one where her parents turn into the like creepy monster looking stuff. But then after that happens, she kind of like sees all of those memories over again. And this time, now we know that those first memories we were seeing was through her original memory, which was kind of an unreliable narrator. Basically, it was how she wanted to remember.
Yeah,
it.
Those were fabricated memories that she had formed to sort of, I guess, maybe as a defense mechanism against the terrible things that had really happened or the negative things that had happened around those specific memories.
And possibly to also justify some of the anger that she has towards her parents. Because like, as we said in like one of them that we saw before, where right before we started noticing that like, okay, something's got to be off, you hear like some crying and her putting a blanket over nothing on a couch, like nobody, but the blanket stays in the air like it's over someone. We're like, what is happening? When we revisit that memory, we see that it's her dad crying on the couch and says, I guess you're tucking me in now, huh? And she's like really sad, tucking him in and stuff like that. And with the context that we know that her parents got separated and divorced, it's like, you know, we know what's going on, but it's like she's re-seeing all these memories, and instead of them all being happy or not understanding them, she's seeing like the looks of her parents and stuff like that, and that they're fighting and they're not getting along and like all kinds of stuff. And, you know, she's seeing those memories for what they really were rather than how she chose to remember or interpret them.
Right, which is sort of opening her eyes here, because one of them, like very specifically, was when they were at this place called Dolph World, which is just like people playing with dolphins, essentially SeaWorld. And then in her like fabricated memory, she's thinking of them like having a great time and watching these dolphins play and just together as a family, all laughing and whatnot. But what actually happened was like she was asking to move, like it was a really dull show. And then she was asking to move closer because she couldn't see. And then her parents get into a fight about her mom saying that, oh, I told you she needed to go to an optometrist or whatever about glasses. And then her dad's like, well, why didn't you take her? And just going back and forth. And so that's one of those things that in her mind, she had sort of blocked off because she didn't want to remember it in that negative fashion. When they were sitting down to tell her about the divorce, in her like fabricated memory, she was remembering it as them sitting her down to tell her that she got accepted into some kind of, or that she got accepted into the game design camp or something. And then like her dad specifically was like, step aside, Miyamoto, you know, Shigeru Miyamoto. Obviously that is not what really happened, but that's just how she was trying to remember it, to block off the thoughts that she was having during the negative thoughts she was having during her parents telling her about the divorce, which we got to also see. And it was as awkward as you would imagine it would be.
Yeah. And she saw like another version of that at one point too, where it was like her parents saying it to her that they were getting divorced, almost like they were doing it to purposely hurt her.
Yeah.
And like they turned all demony and stuff like that. And then it cuts to like, you know, them actually, you know, we see the real conversation and what it's like, and where she was a lot more aggressive and they were just trying really hard to be gentle and help her to understand. And they were very obviously upset and stuff. And she was really angry with them and stuff and blaming them for messing everything up and ruining everything. And that's kind of where I was talking about how it's not only like the window for Tulip to figure it out, but it's a window for like showing viewers and stuff like that there's more to people than what's on the surface and stuff. So I really very much like that part.
We should mention that the more that she's accepting these situations as these memories of what actually happened, the less static, or the more her static on her body is reducing. Like it's kind of receding as she is accepting these as actual memories. And then she gets kind of like, as the static like depletes completely, she gets brought back into the real world, like sitting down on the couch. And it seems like only seconds have passed because Atticus is still finishing the sentence he had started before she got sucked into the world. And so she's like, okay, we definitely have to go now. And the cat's trying to stall, trying to keep them there for reasons unknown at this point. And that also shows that her number that was on her hand, that 89, has gone down again. Instead of being like happy about that, Tulip is still very defensive. And she just like, oh, great. Like my number going down is a good thing. I'm growing as a person. Like, thanks, train. As they're stepping out, one's just like, we don't like you, to the cat as they're stepping out.
Yeah, that cracked me up.
Yeah.
We don't like you. But dang, once that happens, it gets really dark. And these two real creepy, I don't know what they are, robot-y, monster-y, alien-y things.
Yep, exactly that.
There's one tentacle-y one that grabs the cat and is demanding where the passenger is and stuff. And the cat's like pleading, like, don't kill me. You need me. Like, I'm the only one that's going to be able to track them for you. Like, please don't kill me. The other one, we don't really get a good look at. We only kind of see it's like what I assume is its eye kind of in the darkness behind the other one. It's kind of like a red, almost like the Cylon sort of red light sort of thing.
Yeah.
In the darkness. And that's all we know. And that, whatever that thing is, must be the thing calling the shots, because the tentacle one seems to kind of defer to whatever that thing wants. So
yeah, like this is the mysterious big boss in the background. And like you said, I don't even know if it's its eye that we see or what, because it's just a red line is kind of reacting to what it's saying, or kind of moving as it's talking, but we're not hearing what it's saying. It's just like speaking in sort of like binary or something, I guess. I'm not sure, but the other robot can understand it. First, I think it has told it to kill the cat, and then it's like, okay, we'll leave the cat alone for now because she can maybe still help us. But then like the other robot destroys like all the stuff around the room, and the cat's super depressed, sophisticated hoarder that she is.
Yeah, that was creepy as heck, man.
Yeah. Oof. That's where it like opened it up to a new level of like, oh, what is this show?
Exactly. I feel like each episode really took me on like a big surprise of like, it just upped the ante a little bit as far as my expectations of like the first episode, I was just like, I don't know really what to expect from this. And then by the end, I was like, wow, this was crazy. This was way cooler than I thought. Second episode, like right there, I was just like, oh my gosh, like what is happening? And then we get to this next episode, and by the end of this one, I was just like, oh my God, this went way farther than I expected.
Yeah, it's like, this is a kid's show, technically?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, this is for kids?
Okay. Yeah. So the last episode we watched was the new Apex, season 3, episode 10, which was the highest rated episode, but also the very last episode of the third season. So what I will say right now is, if you haven't watched the show and intend to watch the show, maybe skip ahead a few minutes, because this is going to be very spoilery for basically the whole third season, I'm assuming, since this is the closeout of it.
And we don't even know what all it's spoiling, because we haven't seen any of the rest of season 3.
In this one, the gang reorders the Apex, but what will the new order be? That is nonsense to me right now.
That means nothing to me. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, all we know is that the Apex is a group of children and 2 adults.
Just unruly kids, and then adults, maybe. Maybe they're supposed to be like
teenagers,
older
teenagers. Probably teenagers.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was very confused here because so when we usually go into these shows, I don't look up anything about them. I don't look up the plot. or anything. I don't look up any cast information before I watch them because I want to go in 100% blind.
Same.
So I did not know that this was like an anthology series. So I got in and I'm like, who are these people? And I'm like waiting for Tulip to show up for a while. And I'm like, is she not going to show up? Who is what? I was very confused.
Yeah.
And then
same.
I had to pause and actually look up because I'm like, okay, I got to break my rule here. I got to look this up. And I saw that, yeah, it's an anthology and that it's different every season. I'm like, okay, then I'm going to be really lost, but let's go for it.
Yeah, I didn't even look anything up. I just went with it, but I was very confused for a while, especially when they were doing the whole thing at the beginning where it's talking about like
Hazel.
Yeah, where there's all these things going on. There's these people with like these red, like they have like red face paint, sort of red lines across their faces. And I guess that's their the Apex's colors or their face paint, their war paint or something.
Yeah.
And so then like Hazel's talking about how Grace, who's the main character we're following here, killed Tuba. And then she's like, no, it was Simon. And none of these names mean anything to us at this point. So It's like Tuba, Simon, Hazel, even Grace. It's like they're nothing characters because we had no introduction to them. But the more we get into it, the more I sort of understand what's happening. I just wish I had seen more context beforehand, before coming to this episode, which of course you will if you watch it in order. But since we jumped all the way to the last episode of the third season, like we sort of had that handicapped against us. But I think we were able to pick up enough to at least understand in general what was sort of happening during that season.
Yeah, this thing opens up with Grace kind of going through like some memories, just like we left off with Tulip. So for one, thank you, Jack Fox, for giving us that episode before this, because otherwise this would have been so much worse for us trying to figure out what the heck's going on.
Yeah, it's like, why is she staticky?
How much acid did they drop before making this cartoon? We would have been really confused. So she's sorting through some memories and stuff. And in this memory, she's being accused, as you said, by this little girl named Hazel, which I'm assuming maybe doesn't exist anymore since we don't see her in the real world, basically. And Hazel keeps turning into a turtle, which was weird. Not like a turtle, almost like a kappa or something. Like,
yeah,
that was weird. Grace's number is really long, or at least, well, I thought that this would be a long number for a character in this show, but I am mistaken as far as what constitutes a long number in this show.
Right.
I was like, wow, she must have a lot of problems, but she ends up, I guess, kind of coming to in the actual train out of whatever like memory fog thing that she was going through, gets surrounded by all these kids, which we now know were part of the Apex. I keep calling her the Void, which means that she was like, a leader who is now no longer
fit to lead.
So they call her the Void.
In those memories, she's facing the fear of being wrong, of disappointing others, and of not being enough.
So basically a lot of the fears a leader would have.
Right. We find out as she comes back to, I guess, the Apex base that Simon is now the leader, and he is commanding the kids to basically team up against Grace because, like you said, she's the Void, no longer fit to lead. And what it comes down to is a battle between Grace and Simon, not necessarily for leadership, but just because Simon basically wants to get rid of Grace.
Yeah, and I do want to say, like, he was creepy. His number is so long, it wraps around almost his whole body.
Covering most of his body, yeah.
Yeah, he looks like Travis Barker, basically.
Yeah.
With, he's just covered from, like, the neck down almost in number.
In the way that we saw Tulip's number go down in the last episode, we know that like that's sort of accepting you have problems and sort of dealing with those. But in Simon's case, he has gone the opposite route and he has just basically submitted to the train and is just like going completely in, which is why his number is increasing. Like he's become like almost a part of the train now.
So he does get in a big old fight with Grace. He's trying to kill her, basically, they get in a fight. And the fight moves to outside of one of the train cars on this, like, basically like a catwalk between two opposing train cars, and he's trying to throw her off of it, which, man, it's intense. It is a very intense fight.
It is an intense fight. We get more roach dogs in there.
Yeah, there's some cool origami birds.
They get knocked off like one of the they both or kind of fall off one of the sides of the train and are just grabbing on. Simon has gravity boots, and so he's hanging up there, and Grace like grabs one of them and I guess like breaks the other one. So she's saved herself and then tries to saves Simon, brings him up. And maybe like we should have been able to predict this, but he just immediately like turns on her and kicks her off of the train.
Yeah.
To our knowledge, like that's it. Like she's gone. But then we did see her connecting with origami birds earlier in the episode, which I'm assuming has a big part in the season, or she helped them out in some way, because I know that she saved some of them as she was coming back towards the apex. So we see one of these large origami birds like save her and bring her back to the train. And that's when Simon just goes crazy. The numbers are covering his face now.
He's like laughing maniacally and he's got like energy all around him and stuff. It's crazy as heck.
One of the roach dogs comes and attacks again and I guess gets Simon. And really, this is what we were talking about before, where it just sucks his life away completely. And it's not like they just drain him and he's a shell. Like it drains him, melts his skin off, turns his skeleton to dust, and he is just a pile of dust at the end of it. And this is all happening so quickly and so like gruesomely that it seems like borderline like not fit for a kid's show. But it's like, all right, that's pretty cool from my perspective, at least.
Yeah, for adults like me and Joseph, we're like, dang, that's so BA. But then also we're like, man, that's pretty rough for a kid to see.
How did they get away with that? Yeah.
But like, it's a show that it's like, obviously this isn't meant for like young kids. This is a show that's meant for
teenagers, probably.
Yeah, I'm guessing. Yeah, like early teens.
Yeah.
Like preteen on up is what I'm thinking. Like the ones that would be able to handle things like that. So yeah, don't give this to your 5-year-old. I would say
probably not. But it's not that it's like overly gruesome or anything. It just showed. It got more intense than we expected it to.
Yeah, I mean, if your kid can handle skin getting ripped away and then the skeleton turning to dust, then you know.
So I don't know that we'll say much more about this episode because then it'll be completely spoilery. So we don't need to really. I think that's the meat of the episode. So we'll just move on. And why don't you tell me what you liked about this show?
There's a lot of likes. There's a lot of likes here. But to try to keep things as short and sweet as I can, the music for one is amazing. The music is so good. It draws me in like even more, adding to the story. Just like the best thing I can think of, it reminds me of kind of Stranger Things in a way. It's that amazing like 80s synth sound.
Yeah. With
like some eeriness to it, especially when things get like really creepy. And I absolutely love it. And it just it adds so much more to every scene, basically. And it sucks you in, man. Like it adds so much to the show. And the story itself is so intriguing. And they reveal so little of the overall story of what's going on in the episodes that I feel like it's way more about character development within the greater story of this big mysterious train. And I love that about the show because I feel like that's where a lot of other shows kind of miss the mark, is like maybe you've got this great big cool idea of a story in this big world, but if you don't nail that character development and stuff and you can't relate to those characters or feel for them, then it doesn't really matter. But this show, at least with that first season, I can tell like completely nailed it. I can't speak to season 2 or 4. Season 3, we only got to see the one episode, but like it was, that last part was so intense that you could tell like there was so much weight there to be uncovered if you and I had seen the episodes before it. So it just kind of boggled my mind how well done the story was from just the little that we saw.
Right. the fact that it's an anthology, you already know I'm a big fan of anthologies, like period,
Oh, yeah.
for especially horror anthologies. And this is sort of like more of a sci-fi, but still, like, it's no exception. I love it for that reason. The way that they break it up by sharing different people's experiences with like self-discovery from different emotional perspectives on the same train is just a really interesting way to change these stories. And so easily, because there's so many different train cars, like an infinite amount potentially, since it's Infinity Train, and they're all like separate universes. That's such a genius way to have them all separated in this anthological way. I like that they're morality tales. Like, as humans, our emotions are never as black and white as we sometimes wish they were. And this show, at least from what we've seen so far, really dives into those gray areas. Since I think this would still technically be considered a kid's show, this could really be helpful to help kids diversify their emotional portfolio really early on. So I think it could be really powerful for that reason. And when I say kids, we're of course talking about like early teenagers, like we were saying earlier. It's also got endless possibilities, like the fact that there are, I'm assuming, infinite amount of trains, not to mention varying emotions of different kinds. That means there are potentially endless stories to be told. And I know the show is ending at season 4 for the time being, but the creator, Owen Dennis, had said that at least they had planned to go up to season 8, since 8 is basically what an infinity sign looks like. So they were like, there's tons of stories we could tell, but we were planning on ending it at 8 for that reason. Here's hoping that they're able to get it picked up elsewhere, because I'm now fully behind the idea of them continuing this.
Do you know what the reason is that they are ending? Like, was it just straight up canceled, or what happened?
Yeah, it just got, as far as I know, canceled because of, I don't know if it was lack of viewership or what, but Cartoon Network just didn't accept their next proposals for new seasons, because it was what did I read? It was something about like it not being inviting enough to bring people on board, I guess, of the new seasons. So, or to bring like new kids on board or something. I don't remember exactly, but basically they were rejected for their next seasons. But, you know, the way that the internet and everything works, who's to say it's not going to be picked up somewhere else just because of like a fan petition or something?
Yeah, they should definitely, like, I hope they can shop it around, because I feel like, I mean, I don't know as far as contracts and stuff what they can and can't do, but I mean, this does seem like something that if Netflix had the opportunity, they would be like, oh, we'll take that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems like a show that if they had the opportunity, they would go for it
or
quickly.
Amazon
Netflix,
Prime even.
Yeah, because they love shows like this. And I feel like with those two, especially lately, it's like the more oddball science fiction, like the better, you know, they tend to kind of jump for those opportunities lately. So
was there anything that you disliked about the show? I have to ask that.
So just as a contrast to what you said, the only dislike I have at the moment, only having watched a few episodes, is the anthology aspect of it. And it's not that I can flat out say I don't like it. It was just a bummer for me going from those first 2 episodes into that third one, because I was so intrigued by the weight of the story of what Tulip was going through, and I wanted to spend more time with that story. And I'm sure they do a good job, and I'm sure it probably wraps up or something. I'm assuming they wrap up the stories with each season, because the writing's like so stellar that I'm sure they tie things up real nicely and everything, or at least satisfy you. But that jump we made from that one character to a completely different set was really jarring. And this is where, when you said we watched this incorrectly, that was for sure. It's obviously not how the show was intended. So I'm not going to let that affect my score at all. It was just like a bummer in this viewing experience, because it was really confusing and unexpected. And I was just like, it threw me off a lot. But like I said, it's not a fault of the show. It was just a dislike from this experience and how we do these ratings and stuff like that. So I can't count it against it.
Yeah, it's kind of the same for me. Like, as it stands, I don't have anything negative to say about what we've seen so far. More than anything, I'm just intrigued by all that we've seen so far. I want to see more. I want to know more. If anything, we just did ourselves a disservice by watching the last episode of season 3 before any of the rest of it. And that's not on them. That's on us. That's just how this show works. But In the case of an anthological series, breaking it up like that just doesn't work. It's just like we have to watch the highest rated episode because that's what we always do. And it just happened to fall at the end of a season. And so it's just coincidental, nothing against the show. And it definitely didn't affect the score for me. You know, it hampered our experience just because of how Cartoon Boom works.
Yes, exactly. So we goofed it up.
This is on us. I'll take a point off of us before I do them.
Yeah, we'll lower our own rating.
Yeah. Well, Chris, looks like it's about time we send our inner kids on an emotional journey of their own, so maybe they can figure out how not to devote the best years of their lives to corporate America like we have, then see what they thought of their time aboard the Infinity Train.
This cartoon was really fun, but also felt kind of adulty, but then also really fun. I think I said that twice. There's also talking cats and corgis, and a robot who gets all happy and then sad, just like my Uncle Gerald. And the train is the best part. Who knows what other sweet rooms there might be in there, like a train car full of robot girlfriends for me. Wait, where's this super long number coming from?
Maybe it's just me, but getting stuck on a train with dinosaurs, musical blocks, royal corgis, talking cats, and soul-sucking roach dogs seems like the best trip ever. Well, maybe not the roach dog part. But anyway, choo-choo!
I really had no idea what the show was going to be like. I was just assuming that this was going to be a lot more goofy of a show. Like, it would be something kind of silly. Like, I was expecting something like Adventure Time with some Steven Universe or something in there. But this is such a complex story. Way more than I had any indication of. And it's like the atmosphere, the music, the writing, the acting, everything about it was on point. And I don't think I've seen another show so spot on for so long. And it just has me craving to watch more of it. So I could not give this show any less than 5 bowls of bipolar ball cereal out of 5.
Yeah, it's funny that you say Adventure Time and Steven Universe, because in my mind, it's very much like those in the sense that it has that emotional core to it. But this show focuses more on that than those do. Those have a lot more fun. And this one, while it is funny and does have like fun parts to it, because those stories are so much more condensed into these chapters, it has to get to its emotional point much quicker than something like Adventure Time. So for me, I'm, like I said, intrigued by all the ideas that we ran through here, all of the potential that these train cars have to offer, and just curious about what the rest of the stories have entailed for us, because we don't even know anything about Chapter 2 and Chapter 4, so that's going to be a brand new experience altogether. And I'm really curious to see like what got Grace to the point that she got to in Season 3. So many possibilities. Overall, I'd give Infinity Train 5 big bowls of forgettable sporty Tyrannosaurs out of 5, and can't wait to see what the rest of these train cars have on board.
Oh man, it's infinite possibilities, man. Oh gosh, I'm just picturing right now a train car right now with just nothing but hot wings and delicious beers for me.
You know there's one.
Maybe just a couple pizzas.
Of course there's one,
know?
But that's going to be like the gluttonous car where you're going to get stuck in there, and the more you eat, the higher your number gets.
Well, that's why my number's going to be wrapped all over the place. I'm going to have to get fatter so there's more room for numbers.
There you go. Yeah. It's just a never-ending journey. I did read somewhere an episode was called, I think, Kaiju Car, and that got me really excited because I know nothing about that, but just the name alone intrigues me.
Oh, yeah. That sounds great. I'm excited for that.
Yes.
I'm just excited for this whole thing. Like, I gotta watch more of this, man.
Yeah, and it's so digestible because of how short the episodes are. Like, you could probably breeze through most of this in a day.
Oh, absolutely. And the seasons are fairly short, so yeah, it's gonna happen.
So thank you, EpicOtter and Jack Fox, for suggesting this. I'm glad that you guys talked it up so much and really kept honest about it, because it needed to happen. We just didn't know it needed to happen until now.
Yeah, this is one that definitely lives up to all the hype that you guys gave it, and I'm really happy that, like Joseph said, that you did talk it up, because now I feel like I can start to talk about it with you guys, and especially once we get to watch more of it, we can all join the hype train together.
Oh. Woo woo! But don't spoil anything for us, because I'll be furious.
No, don't spoil it. Yeah, everyone, shut your mouths.
Quit hyping it up. Well, listeners, looks like our milk supply is now run dry, so it's time for us to say goodbye. And in 2 weeks, we'll be watching
X-Men, the animated series for Joseph's birthday. Also chosen by Bob H. Jones 9 via Twitch, Kyle Killing via YouTube, and Nicholas Moss via Facebook.
Yeah, but mainly it's for my birthday.
But mainly for Joseph's birthday.
Oh, man. I'm excited. I haven't seen this show in so long.
Yes.
But I have so many good memories of it, of the show, of the toys, of some of the episodes specifically. Like, I don't know how we haven't done this yet, but now's our chance. We're going to take care of it.
Okay. I have every time I think of X-Men, the animated series, there's always like certain episodes and lines that you think of, right?
Yeah.
One of the random lines I always think of, and I don't know why, is I think it's the first episode where you see Cable. And I remember he shoots a car with his like plasma rifle thing, and it glows, and the people jump out of the car. I think he was shooting at Trask and somebody else, and they jump out of the car, and he picks dude up by his like suit, and someone's like, who are you? And he's like, the wild man of Borneo. for whatever reason, that's line,
what you remember.
That line just sticks in my head so well. I don't know why.
One of the lines that always sticks with me from, I think, the very first episode is right after Morph dies, where Wolverine's like, Morph! Just the way that he screams it.
Yeah. Wolverine's voice was great in that.
Well, I mean, it was coming directly from the Pride of the X-Men, where it was Australian at that point.
Yeah.
So it's like,
make you an X-Men.
Right.
No, yeah.
You dingo. Yeah. It was either that or this, because originally Pride of the X-Men was going to be the pilot episode for what was supposed to be the animated series. So fortunately, they took a turn and went with this instead.
I mean, to be honest, the Pride of the X-Men, that would have made a cool series if they didn't have Australian Wolverine.
Well, true. There were so many good things about it, but Australian Wolverine was not one of them.
No, everything was great about him except his voice.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm so excited for this. I'm so glad that you picked it. It's been years waiting, and I'm very happy to finally get to it.
We're going to get it taken care of, and we'll see if it holds up.
Heck yeah. We get some Gambit action, finally.
Yep. Gambit,
Rogue. I'm ready for my Raging Cajun.
Maybe we'll get some Archangel in there. I really liked Archangel in this series.
No, he was great. They did him really good in this. And then they screwed up on any kind of live action version of him.
Well, once again, I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris, hopping off the caboose. I'm going to work my way up to that conductor.
And we'll see you in 2 Saturdays.
Presented by Nerdsloth,
a place for lazy nerds.
If you like what you heard, consider donating at patreon.com/nerdsloth so we can continue bringing you quality shows. Be sure to also leave us a review and share your favorite episodes and clips on social media. If you're looking for more content, visit us at nerdsloth.com.